Morning. Let me get the whoops. Hold on. I think it's still going. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Let's turn that off now. Today we're gonna get right into it because I gotta get to the canning. So good morning to everybody. Let's quickly go through. Good morning, Bayou. Good morning, Howie. Badass 93 Stan. Good morning, Fifi. Good morning, those in the bushes. I can sing like just like that when I'm sleeping in your dreams. So we're gonna get into it because I want to get to the canning. It's already getting hot today. This weather is up and down, cold and hot, and I've been dehydrating, so that makes the house hot. So I've been dehydrating. It seems like all week. I had some sage. I have my own herbs, and then there's herbs at the parents' house. Their house, obviously, it's always bigger and better because it's pretty much all in ground and in raised beds, but the in ground. Mine are all in containers, so they always have a bigger harvest. This sage was just humongous, gigantic. So I will be up potting most of my herbs into a bit bigger pots because I think they're being stunted. So they would grow a bit more, but they're being stunted. And the sage, she gave me oregano from their house. I got I'm getting some mint, like it's ridiculous. But we don't need to buy no tea, I don't think, unless it's a different type of tea that we can't get. Peppermint, nope. Regular mint, nope. I have ginger mint. We don't need to buy oregano. We're going to be making our own oregano oil and tinctures. We don't need to be buying those things anymore. So we're trying to eliminate. Yeah, it's more work, but you know what you're getting. And canning tomatoes left, right. I've been eating tomatoes left, right, and center. And what I realized is some of the tomatoes that I didn't like in the past, I probably had them overripe, and that was probably the problem. So I didn't like the white beefsteak, but then I tried another one and it was fantastic. Some tomatoes don't store very well and they get very mushy and chalky. So you don't like them, but it's not that you didn't like the tomato, you didn't have it at the right time. You waited too long to eat it. So I do like that tomato, but you have to eat it right away. And it's hard to see when it's ripe, but you got to see when it starts to turn from green to a flush of like a pastel yellow. It's not really white. But yeah, I'm going to up pot. Yeah, because this my sage is okay, but it's not like fantastic. The ones that are in ground, I split some of the plants in two. They're not big, but they're resilient and they went through one winter, so you don't know they're going to be fine. Um Thyme, I got sage, I got lemon thyme in the ground, and my comfrey, which no, a lie, comfrey's in the pot. I need to put it in a place in the ground so that they can kind of produce better. Mint is not going in the ground, obviously. Rosemary can't survive outside here. Um, Parsley, maybe, but I'm going to up pot it. Cilantro goes to seed, so there's no point. You have to just keep replanting it. Basil, same thing, can't really stay outside, but it's so easy to plant and grow basil. Like really, you drop the seeds, it's so easy, especially from the Herb Garden Challenge. So certain things you kind of know, cilantro, parsley, watercress. It's not hard to keep growing fresh each season. And note, oh, Fifi, the seeds came in that I ordered from Baker Creek. So I'll be doing a video haul soon. But man, I think I bought the whole store. The only thing I couldn't get was three things, which I've been waiting for. They've been out of stock on that site for months. They didn't have stevia. They didn't have the butterfly pea flower, and they didn't have stevia, butterfly pea. And what was the third thing I wanted? I talked about it last night on Gina's too, because I was mentioning the three things that I wanted. I have a stevia plant, but it hasn't gone to seed. Blue butterfly pea. Oh, there's something else. It's gonna irritate my spirit now because I'm sure somebody has that as well. So I keep asking, butterfly pea, stevia. Oh, mullein. I have not seen the common mullein on their site weeks. I guess everybody bought them out. Now I know why Renaissance always says like she buys sometimes two packs. So I bought two packs of the purple cabbage from Baker Creek this time because I'm not going to let them go to seed. So I'm going to eat them. So I'm going to need more seeds than normal. So I have two packs of the purple cabbage. So I'll be doing that and going through the seeds and the benefits of each plant, just like how GT does it, and just going through the seeds and stuff like that and some of the benefits. Um, Let me see here. How he's saying a lot of buildings are being torn down and all these critters migrate to the food forest. More owl houses. Pretty. Yes, I don't have ticks, but the mice. I have mice because of the chicken feed, but it's not so bad now. I'm going to be putting out some more traps. I think you told me about the baking soda and peanut butter. I'm going to be doing that as well. I've seen other people say that it works and it won't hurt the chickens, the baking soda and peanut butter. So that's what I want, more of those. And then I'll put poison traps way on the extreme perimeter of the property to keep them away. Because once it gets cold and there's no food, you're gonna see them trying to come and get the food, especially the rat, like was right there in daylight, trying to hide in the corner. And when the chickens went to go lay or they weren't there, they would try to go and eat the food. So we're not having that this year. So the topics today, truth tellers. All I'm seeing in the news is a few different things that I saw this week, which was quite disturbing. Some things were quite disturbing. Some things were like, what? Anyways, all I'm hearing in the news is Haitian, everything about Haitians. It come like Haitians is being used like Beetlejuice. Like everything is about Haitians. First of all, I didn't even know that was going on until I saw some people do some content on it. Good morning, some content on it. Makes no sense. I don't know all the details. I don't know all the facts. I see people talking about cats. Some talking about dogs. Some say that they're taking the geese. I don't really mind the geese because there's over here. There's too many geese. Eat the squirrels for all I care. I don't really care. Just don't eat. I don't believe in the pets, and people are very upset. I find it a bit funny. Not that it's funny, but you have to start taking a step back and looking at it from the art of war. Do I personally believe that they're eating them? No. From when I heard it, it made no sense. They're not eating the pets. Are they using them for some purpose? Most definitely. Do I have an idea? I think I do. You're going to have to do some research on their culture and some stuff like that. I'm not going to really say because it's not a fact, but I think that they're doing something else with it, but it's nothing to do with eating or being hungry. That's not what it is. And when I heard about this in the news, and you could give me your take on it, I remembered the instant, I think it was last year or the year before, and I believe it was New York when there was migrants coming in and they didn't allow any of the Haitians to come in. I believe they had them under a bridge at one point and they dispersed them quite harshly, and I think they sent them back to Haiti. I don't know for sure. This is just from my remembrance. I think that's what happened. So that's what came to my mind. And I'm thinking we have to remember and remember things because we think it's only this, and it could be a ricochet of things that happened before. And did they hold a grudge? I don't know. Would it surprise me? No. And are they eating your pets? No. But the stereotype is Americans love their pets sometimes more than they love their own children, their spouses, and people. They will ride or die for their pets. And if I was a person trying to cause trouble, which I'm not, I could see why this would be a good attack because it's not overt. It's in everybody's mouth, to be honest, because you guys are really upset. And it causes a psychological, it puts you all on edge. And if I was that kind of person, I'm not, that would be a good plan. That would be a good plan of attack. I would take the geese too. Oh, so the baking soda works until the smart one won't eat it. The owl will get the smart. Yeah, exactly. If it were permitted, they look delicious. I'm telling you, and they're all over the place. Like they're overpopulating. So I didn't go into detail. I didn't watch all the articles because it's just like the same propaganda all around. Are they hunting legally? Probably not. Are they really upset about the geese? I don't think so. Are they upset about their cats and dogs? For sure. That's what is probably causing the most upset. And everything's just being conflated into one big thing. One guy said that he saw them with the geese. It's like all these different things are being reported. Now, one group of people that I wouldn't play with is Haitians. I don't think you should really play with Haitians. They're not a group of people to play with, allegedly. And good morning, Odom. Like they know who to play with, Odom. They know who to play with. But I wouldn't play around with Haitians as a culture. There's a couple of Caribbean islands I really don't play. I wouldn't play with because historically, when you look at their history, they overcame their colonizers. They fought the British and whoever else, and they defeated them multiple times. And they do not take kindly to being colonized or being controlled. That's Haitians for you. And part of the problem with Haiti is that there's a lot of political unrest. Again, I don't know every detail, but I know enough to know that Haiti has oil, and because outsiders can't control Haiti and want to control the resources, they're left in an impoverished state intentionally. And this is part of the game. So when you, like, if it was my dog and cat, would I be upset? Yes. But I can't look at it from that perspective. I have to look at it from the bigger perspective. And sometimes political groups are involved in things in other countries and you don't hear about it and you don't know what the effect is going to be. And now the effect is cats and dogs, and that's all you're talking about. But you're not talking about how it got to this point in the first place. Because I don't think anybody woke up and said, I'm going to eat the neighbor's dog today. And they're not eating your dog. Trust and believe they're not eating your dog. I would suspect some kind of juju is going on in them streets, but they're not hungry for no cat and no dog. That doesn't make sense to me. So definitely some things is going on. So be prayed up because I don't play with Haitians. I don't play with Haitians. And those Creole people, don't play with them. It's all fun and games until. So keep your head on swivel. Do I think it's being exaggerated? I'm not sure. If it's not being exaggerated, if it's actually, factual information that's being, put on the news broadcast and there's not being exaggerated, then obviously there's been an intentional influx of that group of people in particular areas. And I was surprised to hear that they're in Ohio because Ohio's not like a warm climate. So I was surprised that I think Springfield and other places in Ohio are being bombarded. So that's obviously intentional. So the focus is on the Haitians, but it has nothing to do with the Haitians per se. That's just a small peg in this puzzle. They didn't get there on their own, from what I'm seeing. They didn't relocate there. It's not a place that I would pick to relocate. Ohio, if I'm from a warmer climate, I would probably stay in a warmer zone. And America is huge. So something's going on. Good morning, Gina. Something's what? Oh, okay. I thought you were having a medical trauma. You're at a medical trauma class. Okay, thank you. Thank you. So you just be mindful, pay attention, and don't be one of them people who are out here. Oh, the Haitians, I hate. Listen, don't put your mouth on the Haitians. Be careful. Be very careful. And take time and see and watch what's going on. They didn't get to those places on their own. Those people, because I know personally for here, we had an influx of refugees and I guess it was refugees and it's not migrants, refugees. And a lot of them are being placed in communities and they're being placed by the government. And the government's paying their rent or subsidizing their rent at the very least. They're not paying all of it, but they're giving them a certain thing. And then they have to get a job to make up the difference. So be very careful. Step back, and look at it a bit from a broader perspective. Don't just have your mouth on the Haitians, because from what I heard yesterday and another video, and he's the first person that I heard say what I'm thinking, which is that they're not eating your cats and dogs. And he basically said a lot of the landlords are getting government I guess you can call them contracts. And good morning, Broke. And they are bringing the migrants in, and the government's paying their rent, and they're paying a higher rent than the original tenants. One person was renovating the building, which is allowed here too, and then you raise the rent when you give all the upgrades. Now they don't want to rent to the original people. They've been priced out the market, and these people are affording the rent, but they don't have jobs. So who's paying the rent? The government is. So everyone's like, oh, the Haitians. Be very careful when you start putting your name on, because then it's going to be an argument between the Haitians and the locale. And I don't play with the Haitians. So keep your eye, follow the money, as we always say, follow the money. So that's that. I'll wait and see what's coming. Oh, good morning, Tigsy. Sorry, I think I missed you. Keep your eyes open to see what's going on, because it's and can't stop walking. Sorry, I saw you, but I didn't say your name. Keep your eyes open, because this ain't no joke. And then, yep, Venezuelans as well. Here in Chicago too, I'm seeing tons of Venezuelans, and I'm like, they have no idea what they're in for during the winter, because it gets colder than the penguins. Well, I'm pretty sure that I hear these EBT cards are just up the yin yang, and a few people on other social media accounts have seen when the people purchase something, the receipt has the balance on the EBT card, and they've been taking a snapshot and posting it. And some of the balances on these EBT cards are thousands of dollars, like a savings account, almost thousands of dollars. So you need to keep your eye on the real puppet master. Don't be having your anger all towards the Haitians. During World War II, European earthlings ate nearly all of the man's best friends. In some countries, this is done still. Earthlings abuse earthlings because they know they can get away with abusing. Yeah, I think this is part of a psychological warfare against the locality, but I don't think they're eating. Oh, I can't get Chick-fil-A. Let me just go take someone's dog and make a barbecue. I don't think that's what's happening. So, good morning, G Mama. Okay. Now, oh, good morning, official Jamia. If I miss you, it's because I didn't see you. It all looks kind of the same, unless your logo is distinctly different. But good morning, official Jamia, and those else in the bushes. Let's talk about another thing. I'm going to hop to a few things. I'm not going to be on here too long because I got to do some canning. As you know, this time of year ain't no joke for us gardeners, and us having to try to preserve and maybe even do a second wave of brassicas before it gets out of hand here. And you know it's getting out of hand when the squirrels be digging up all your pots bearing foolishness for the winter. The nature tells you when it's time to shift and to change. If you didn't know that, I was saying it's fall before it's fall. It's not fall, it was fall. The weather, the overnight temperatures were telling me it's fall. The certain trees changing color early was telling me it's fall. The squirrels getting ready because they know it's coming earlier this year. And for all you know, it might be a colder winter. I don't know. I'm just saying, watch the animals around you, watch the birds. Canning apple butter. Oh, that sounds good. Now, I found out about the Texas water foaming issue way after, because I've just been deep in the herbs and deep in dehydration that I didn't really watch the news, and this is watching YouTube. So I found out about I'm looking at my other screen over here. Let me see here 1 second. Let me move this laptop so I can see this screen. So the foaming agent, that was I couldn't believe it. This is getting ridiculous. So hold on, is that the one? Okay. Yeah, so all I know is that the mayor says test results show that Grand Prairie water was safe after the foaming agent tainted the supply. And I saw the map. You guys would have saw it on the news already. A huge area of Texas, and Texas is huge. And some kind of foaming agent was in the water, and the water became useless. I don't recall ever hearing. I've heard of boil water advisories, but I've never heard of guys don't use the water at all. I'm talking, you can't bathe, wash your hands. They didn't even want you to boil the water. You could not sterilize the water. You could not cook with the water, wash your hair. Obviously, you can't drink it, brush it, nothing. Like, you had no water. I have never heard that happening in North America that I can recall, that do not use the water. I know we had E. coli here, and then they had to stir, but it was a boil water advisory. It wasn't do not use the water. That is scary. Um, yeah, you've been canning all week. I'm telling you, ain't no joke. Um, that's scary. And from what I saw on the news, people, even barbershops, were using bottled water up the yin yang to keep the business operating. I would have shut it down. Schools were closed, everything was closed. We've been talking about this, and we have to always keep reminding you, do not trust the water. Don't wait for a water advisory about a boiling water. You should be boiling your water every day. You should be overnight at night, boil your kettle at night, let it cool, and then you can use that for, in a jug in the fridge if you don't have a fancy, purifier. You should not be using straight tap water. If you can put a filter on your stuff, on your shower for sure, because that's going all over your skin and your bathroom sink, you're washing your face and stuff. Put filters on these things. Don't trust the water under any circumstances. And hey, good morning, Devil Dog. I'm going to keep saying it. What happened in Texas ain't no joke. And then from after the fact, you had to flush your hot water for 15 minutes and then your cold water for 5 minutes to flush all the stuff out of the system. How did the foaming get into the water? I didn't do any reading, but hmm. So that quickly, a whole region was contaminated. It didn't take much to contaminate your all's water system. So pay attention. Don't trust the water anyways, and make sure you have bottled water on hand, because I don't want to be in the store fighting and elbowing and karate chopping people who are fighting over the last couple of cases of water. So every time I go to Costco, I buy one of them big old 5 gallon, waters. I have a few here. I have less than I should have, but I'm going to be stocking up again. I kind of intentionally go under in the summer because it's so hot. You don't want the plastic in the hot house, even if it's in the basement. And then I had the two little flood issues. So now I'm going to be restocking a lot of water and just using that. Don't wait until you have to get the call and say, you can't use your water. Let's go. No, have it on hand. This is a prime example. And that's why I keep 2 gallons of water in both of my washrooms. I have a 1 gallon jug, two of them in each washroom that has tap water. And that water is used for hygiene. If anything happens and I, here locally or just my house alone, I have enough water to, brush my teeth, wash my face, do a bird bath, basic hygiene for maybe 1 or 2 days. Beyond that, I'm going to have to get more water, obviously, but I have a little something in the two washrooms in case something goes left. Don't wait until you get the news broadcast. Make sure you have it. I put it on crepe with with cold smoked wild salmon. The apple butter is nice pairing. I can imagine. I love having that with yogurt, even though I don't eat dairy anymore. I still eat yogurt sometimes. Yeah, you can't boil it. You couldn't filter it. You couldn't sterilize it. What was that in the water if you couldn't do any of those usual things to clean your water? So pay attention, guys. Pay attention. Fall had come early here too. A couple weeks ago, we were getting down in the 40s at night. So I have my duvet and my warm pajamas out. My tomatoes are struggling, but I'm leaving them there because there's a few flowers and a few food coming out. Eggplant, same thing. There's a few eggplants kind of pushing out. Bell peppers, my scotch bonnet. But yeah, it's been a rough season for most of us. I don't think anyone had we never have a perfect season, but I had a hard time with all of my hot crops. I did not get one kusha. The vine finally is growing now. Not one flower, not one kusha. No watermelon, not one melon squash. I barely got zucchini. And zucchini it's hard to not grow zucchini. Powdery mildew took it. Like a lot of things were happening. Inconsistent weather, extreme moisture. So it was harder this year and to keep the watering up. Next year, I'm going to be doing a lot more of the milk spray to prevent the powdery mildew because that's a big problem. And that will ruin my cucumbers were ruined. It hopped onto my bee balm, the powdery mildew. It's a big problem. You have to make sure that you have these remedies in place because I was fighting left and right. There wasn't as much bug damage, snails, yes, and slugs for sure, but the white butterfly couldn't get on my plants this year. Aphids weren't as bad, but they were there. A couple of my plants I sprayed with neem oil um, when it was kind of overcast and smothered them. My calendula has aphids on them, so I have to make sure I wash everything before bringing it in the house. Guys, I don't care if something looks clean and perfect, rinse it off outside because there was a little aphid hiding in the calendula. I had to rinse it outside. I came in and put it in soap and water, dunked it, and got that cleaned out and put it right in the dehydrator to use for bombs and stuff. Let me see here. Whoops. The thing had added in an extra word. Uh-oh, what happened? Did I miss something? Typo. Yes, boil water for drinking, and you won't. Yeah, always boil your water. Some people you kind of trust and like, I don't have to boil it today. No, boil your water and then put it in a carafe in the fridge, or have it, but do not drink the tap water straight. Too much rain, yes, and when it rained, it was torrential. So the two floods that I had, it's been challenging. Now, when I was looking for this water issue in Texas, another one popped up that I don't know if I didn't hear about it in the news. I saw it because I thought G Mama that nasturtiums, because I have nasturtium and calendula next to each other. I didn't know the calendula was an aphid trap. I thought the nasturtium was the aphid trap. That's why I had the nasturtium next to it. Didn't 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 work. Oh, is Howie leave? Okay, see ya, Howie. Borage chew. I'm telling you. And these are powerful herbs good for us to make tea, but you cannot bring anything in your house. I rinse off everything for the most part, but even though I may miss certain things, that's why I do not have an indoor garden. I have a couple of tomatoes, the Tiny Tim's still struggling along. I'm going to probably pop them out and I'm going to propagate the dark galaxy, some of the small limbs, propagate them, rinse them off with water, and then maybe spray them with hydrogen peroxide, and then plant them inside for fall. But I'm not doing any brassicas or my anything indoors until maybe November to give that buffer between the outdoor and the indoor, because I don't want to deal with aphids indoors. It is too difficult. Outdoors is one thing, but inside your house and you have no insect predators, don't do it, guys. I still have PTSD to this day. But anyways, there was another issue in Texas, and let me close that window, and I'm gonna look up to my other screen up top. 1 second. Let me just put my camera off so I don't look crazy looking up in the sky. Where is it now? It says North Texas Water Company rescinds boil water notice. This was published on August 26th, and this is from NBC DFW. So it says here, due to the reduced pressure, a North Texas Water Company issued a water boil notice Monday afternoon. The boil notice was rescinded Tuesday morning. It says Bethesda Water Supply Corporation, headquartered in Burleson, issued a boil water notice after mechanical issues in its distribution system on Monday. Repairs were made and water service had been restored, but the boil water notice was still in effect. The boil notice affected Rendon and surrounding areas. So, if you know Texas, I don't know, but that's what it says. The water company asked consumers in the affected areas to boil their water before consumption. Example, washing hands, face, brushing teeth, etc. So when you are asked to boil your water, it's not just for drinking. It's before you even use it on your skin. That part I haven't been doing, but I have a filter on my shower now, but who knows if that filter can stop these heavier chemicals. On Tuesday, the company rescinded the boil notice after taking necessary corrective actions and providing TCEQ and lab test results that indicated the water no longer required boiling before consumption. And that's what it says. And that was also at the same time as this foaming agent. So I didn't know. So, Texas, you better keep your eyes open. Um, Comfrey flour isn't needed because the seeds are sterile. Okay. Someone broke the flowering stem on my comfrey. I think you can't kill comfrey. My parents didn't know what it was. My dad knows what it was, but we didn't. And they would chop it down to nothing. As long as there's something in the roots or in the pot or in the ground, that's gonna come back bigger. Trust me, you can't kill comfrey. It doesn't spread like all around for us, but it just keeps coming back up. So I told them not to cut it down. That's a powerful plant that I could feed my livestock with. And somebody keeps just thinking it's not a weed, it's a plant. What'd you miss? I don't know, Fifi. I don't know how long you've been gone. Hey, Shawnee. Sorry, Shawnee. Tigsy says the aphids are not going for my borage. Calendula, they are all over my okra plants. And what? I've never had them on my okra, but I did read that you can have the black aphids on okra. And we're on one of my lime trees. This is the thing. You think you know which plants they like, and they like everything pretty much. If you have calendula and nasturtiums, they'll go to those first, as well as the the cabbages and the bok choy. But if they don't have any of those things, and they'll go somewhere else. I don't know where they come from. I didn't even know what they were until I started really gardening. Didn't even know what they were till I see all these clump of gray stuff just clumped on these plants. But I haven't had a problem with okra, but it's not impossible. So keep an eye on your water, and anybody who's watering your garden or you're watering your garden, make sure you have a filter on your hose. Good morning, PIA. Do not water your garden with the tap water. I've noticed in the last, let me get some water myself because I feel dehydrated. 1 second. Excuse me. 1 moment. Commercial break. 1 second. Okay, so yeah, do not use the tap water. I've noticed in the last 2 seasons, so 2023 and this season, my garden is much better just with the fact of not using straight tap water. I do catch rainwater, that's my number one way to water, but I do have a filter on my hose to filter out at least the chlorine and something else, and it's made a huge difference. And the soil health is better. The biodiversity in the soil is not being compromised because there's a lot of things living up in the soil in the containers I'm talking about. They're there. So the only thing is making sure that I have enough fertilizer and feed in the plants, but not too much because you don't want to over fertilize in the containers. But the water is making a huge difference. In the winter months when it's I have to water the plants in the garage that I overwinter. So all my figs go in the garage. My herbs go in the garage, for instance, the stevia, because I don't have stevia seeds. Good morning, Miss Patty. I don't have stevia seeds. I don't have, and all my mint can survive outside, but because of the size of the pot, I rather put them in the garage. Those pots, some of them are Dollar Tree and Dollarama. The extreme cold makes them very brittle, and then if you pick them up, they literally fall apart. So depending on the type of pot you have, they can stay outside. If your pot is thick enough to kind of keep the roots at a certain temperature, if it's freezing to death, not so much. So the mints go in the garage, and a few other plants. I can't even remember now. I take the snow, I put it in a bucket now, I let it melt, and I use that water to water them in the garage periodically to keep them through the winter and with a little bit of, seaweed and keep them going for the winter. And that's been better because in previous seasons, using tap water from inside and bringing it to the garage, it wasn't it was definitely damaging the plant. Can you imagine straight chlorine? And they put more chlorine in the water since 2020 over here. I can smell it. I got me a new cup I went shopping for cans for canning, and they had this cute little, well, it's not little. Oh my God, you can't even see. It's a turquoise, like a Stanley cup, but it's not Stanley. The brand is Mana, and it has a built-in straw, and it's hot and cold, 10 hours. So I got one. I don't like plastic anyway, so it's stainless steel, which is good. Let me see what G-Mom's saying. I'm removing my Dollar Tree pots this season. I don't feel like dealing with. Yeah, I went to this. That's where I got the cup from. I got some jars for canning, several cases. Good morning, Carbon. And I got the cup and I got some new pots, the nursery pots, because those are more durable. I have yet to see my nursery pots fall apart, to be honest. They're not the best, but they're certainly better than these fanky Dollar Tree ones. I'm not knocking Dollar Tree. There's some of the pots, like the ones for the herb challenge, those are more durable. But the bigger ones, I don't know. You can tell by the plastic. They crack in the cold, like they just literally fall apart. You'll be holding it by the lip and lifting it up, and then bloop. So you have to hold them from the bottom, otherwise your whole plant will be all over the place and all the soil. So use your money wisely, because if the cheapest, as we say in Jamaica, the cheapest is the dearest. When you're too cheap, you're going to end up buying it 3 and 4 and 5 times, and you end up paying more than buying a good one the one time. So that's the note for the day. Now everyone's harvesting and getting stuff ready. So I went to I've been watching this person on Instagram. They're in Canada, and there's a couple of farms that have been popping up on my feed, I guess because of what I'm looking at. They came up on my feed, and plus I think they did a sponsored ad as well. And they are like selling Caribbean stuff like callaloo and certain things, and they have, you know, a market. So one's in Toronto, Downsview. There's one in Brampton, and that's the one I went to in Brampton. It seems a little smaller, and I going into deep into Toronto, the traffic is just a nightmare for me, and I would rather go further out with less traffic and more peacefulness than to go into the city. So I went to the Brampton one, and it's kind of off of conservation area. There's a place that's a conservation area that I've gone to before, and they have horseback riding. I've gone there for horseback riding. It's a very quaint area, very quiet, and it's in the city. But there's so many trees and growth that when you're in it, you don't hear all the noise of cars and trucks. It shields the whole area in its own little cocoon. Did not know this farm was there, and that it was, so expanded. I haven't been up that area in a good while, a couple of years. Well, for at least 4 years. My cousin used to live over there, so it's been a long time since I've had to go in that area. And he has callaloo and different stuff, and he has a farm incubator program. So I went there on Thursday. Yes, Thursday. That's when I got all the cans and the jars and stuff to talk to him about the program and what is going on. So it's not a community garden. It's not that, because they have community gardens around in other conservation parks, and they're pretty much very affordable, but it's not um like you can't grow stuff there and sell it. It's for your own personal. It's not for farming and making a profit. So there's different types of categories that they have here. So if it was for me and I'm not selling the stuff, then that would be fine. But I'm thinking more of providing a service for the community and for sure the church group, and for providing fresh food and organic-ish as it can get, to the community at either the same cost as conventional or however we're going to work it out. That's the vision. That's the idea. So I went there, and one person has 2 acres. It's still very new. That he is leasing for, I don't know how long his lease is, several acres. I don't remember what he said. And he has a couple of lots set up. They provide the water, and they have a creek, and they catch rain barrel, and they have IBC totes, whole bunch of stuff. They provide, and he'll weed the walkways and stuff, but all the small detailed weeding you do yourself. But the main big stuff, he can chop that up for you. Compost, they provide the wood chips. They do gentle tilling because they do like a no-till approach. Prepare the beds. Hey, frugal mama. So the cost was $1,000 for the season. So I asked him, what's the season? April to whenever. I said, well, that's not my season. I do season whenever I want to do it. So if I want to come in March and put down stuff and cover it with a tarp, with a row cover, he's like, yeah, you can do that, whatever. I'm like, yeah, because if I'm paying for something, I'm going to be growing from how I grow here. I have things outside from Easter, before Easter. Lettuce, spinach can take the cold, can take a beating. Bok choy did better when I started it outside early before any bugs could get to it, and it lived its best life. I put like a cloche or just a cover on it or nothing, and it grew fantastic. You guys saw my bok choy. This is the best I had ever in my life. And I had to cover it with mesh to keep the slugs off, but I had some nice bok choy. I want to start early. He goes, yeah, I have no problem with that. He's just very particular about the way it looks. He doesn't want a hot mess garden, like looking like, because he's Caribbean too, looking like back home with all these mismatched stuff. So the trellises, they provide them. He doesn't want us bringing no trellises and having our own mishmash. If we need stakes, then he gets the stakes and has a nice uniform look, because he has people coming to do tours, schools to come in to do tours, and maybe even funding from the government. He wants it to look a particular way. But I'm thinking about doing that. So of course I'm talking about with people, and they're like, well, it's a lot of work. Yeah, it's a lot of work. If I'm doing that garden, then most likely next year or whenever I do it, I wouldn't really do a big personal garden. I would just maybe do a few things here, yes, but I wouldn't be doing what I'm just the chickens, and I'll do like cabbages because you can just plant them up top. I didn't really water the garden up top. That was all the rain because I didn't have the energy. So I'll probably do the same thing, cabbages, fennel, herbs, and just not really do a big, big garden. And I would just eat from that garden and go there and do that. So I'm trying to figure out how to package it to do a proposal because if should I get sponsorships? Should I ask the church to sponsor it? There's two churches that I know locally. They would contribute. Like, should I make them to split it? And then we get volunteers from each of their congregations, and then we rotate the volunteers, and then you guys get access to discounted food or free. Like, I don't know how to package it. I'm working on that because I'm trying to make sure that we are providing food to people who are don't have access to food, number one. Um, well, no, he's gonna give it to me year round. I went there kind of. I wasn't aggressive. I was just kind of like, nah, man. If I'm paying $1,000, I get it from January 1 to December 31st, point blank, period. But most of the people that go there don't use it to that level. That's probably why he's saying that. And the one guy who has 2 acres, when I looked at the because you don't know what 2 acres is. Like, I know it, but I had to see it. It was a huge place, and he barely is using any of it. My backyard is using more than he's using, and I understand. I'm not knocking him. It's a lot of work to get it going. Maybe he doesn't have the help, the volunteers, or this, or that, planning out what you're gonna plant where, and just it's overwhelming. But he came in there when we were there ready to leave, and he was, he harvested some stuff, but he's not using the 2 acres. The other conservation place, when I checked their prices, they don't provide any watering, nothing. So this guy is better. But the other place has a beehive, and they also have a chicken coop. So they're doing a bit more. And this guy possibly could have that. But again, he has to get more people involved, more funding. There is a hoop house there and a greenhouse. He doesn't use it in the wintertime because it's too much, too costly to heat it. But then what you have to keep talking to people because you have to get the nuances of what they're saying. It's too much to heat because he was trying to keep tropical plants. I'm like, hell, I said, hell no. When I finally got to that, I said, no, 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 no. That's expensive. If you're keeping a cabbage or something that's cold tolerant, they don't need to be kept hot. They just need to be kept from the frost getting on it. And maybe you won't even have to heat the hoop house because they have that buffer, and the person who's in there can just put an extra level of plastic to create a microclimate in. And I've seen many of you do that. I would not heat a greenhouse in Toronto in January. You mad? To keep a tropical. No, 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 no. You can keep cold tolerant plants outside. I've done it with no hoop house, just a piece of tarp over your bed, and they did fine. Cabbage is resilient. So I don't think he's using, again, I'm not knocking it, but what it's best for the climate and how to use the hoop house to its potential. I would only be growing lettuce, spinach, bok choys, and maybe some cabbages, maybe not because they take too long to turn around, maybe a short season cabbage. And I will be doing that all winter. No heat, just maybe an extra level of plastic. I know Fifi had that in her garage. She created a microclimate in, I don't think she was running at no furnace and no NASA. Pineapples and certain tropical fruits need a certain temperature. And if you're in a zone that's not tropical, what you're paying to heat the tropical plants, you might as well forget it. That food is costing you too much to produce, and that's not going to make you no money. And it's not about making money, but you can't be going into debt just to grow 1 and 2 tropical. It doesn't make no sense. That's why when Broke mentioned yesterday the limes that can take the cold, I'm like, what? That's what I need to be focusing on, not no tropical something. See, Fifi's garage is unheated. So I don't think so. There is potential to grow all year round in that greenhouse if we're growing the right crops. Yeah, exactly. Can stay in the tropics, can stay there. So the potential is there. So although he's doing excellent work, he doesn't think the way I think, and I can't think the way he thinks. But when you move together, you can influence each other. I don't think he realizes that that greenhouse does not have to be empty all winter. There's no need for that to be empty all winter. All the herbs can even go in there. I'm pretty sure some of the herbs can flourish in there. And you can plant them from seed in that hoop house in the winter and they will germinate. As long as you have lighting. And if you have some kind of solar thing going on to run the lights, I'm telling you, he could cut a lot of costs. But maybe that's why I'm going over there. So I'm thinking about it. It's not for sure. I would need at least two other people to really be committed to working on that plot for the season. And it's gonna be more organic because he used to be certified organic, but not anymore. It wasn't worth the expense, but it's still an organic place. So, the usual, neem oil, soap and water, you know, whatever sprays, essential oils, that kind of stuff. That's what we'll be using over there. Natural fertilizer. I could bring my chicken manure, stuff like that. He doesn't want any chemicals because he doesn't want to poison the land. Because if other people want to come and do stuff, that kind of thing. Um, he asked me what I grew for tomatoes this year. I mentioned them. I don't think he knew what I was talking about. And then I mentioned the carbon tomato that I got the seeds. I'm so happy I got them from Baker Creek this week. And you guys have been talking about it. I didn't know about this tomato until I saw it on Instagram. Then I heard Vision talk about it. He was like, he only grows carbon tomatoes. He didn't know what that was. So I sent him a picture of it on Instagram to show him what it was. He goes, "Oh, that looks delicious." So sometimes you think that you don't know a lot, or maybe you think, okay, this person knows more than me, but that's not always true. You have your own gifting, you have your own, like what we have here on YouTube, our community, what we have going on since, I've only been on here maybe 2 years, maybe a bit more. But even before that, I used to watch many of you before I created a channel. We have a good thing going on here, and there are a lot of knowledgeable people, and you may look at them, oh, there's a simple regular so and so or regular so and so, or who is Fifi or who is Broke Farmer. There's some regular people, but they're very knowledgeable. So don't despise what we have. We have a lot of people who have some knowledge, experience. They have access to unique varieties. I know now if I want to, I know who to go to for seeds. Miss Tigsy has, and Psalms has seeds. And you think, oh, Psalms is in the city. She has a lot of seeds, a lot of varieties. You'd be surprised. Mike's chaotic. Like, there's a lot of knowledge to go around. So don't despise what we have, because I'm going out into the world and talking to people, and I know more about varieties of tomatoes than this dude. And he knows Callaloo, yeah, but I'm talking about, Amish paste, white, Galaxy. I'm talking about the striped green, the zebra, the pineapple. He's looking at me like, how many tomatoes? Didn't know nothing about it. I'm talking to him about, intercropping. I go, I don't do that. I do intercropping. He goes, oh, I go, you mean no-till? Like, I knew what he's talking about. So he's like, oh, he realized, okay, I may not be experienced, but I do have a good knowledge base. So all of us can go out there and do a lot. And I really believe this is happening because I don't know what you guys believe, but I do believe sometimes other people's experiences, it's like it opens a door. So the first person that did this was Gina versus Gina. She happened to go and check out the community garden. Okay, she wasn't going to do it because things were going on. Then she ended up doing it, and her and her friend are working together, and she has a huge plot, and I haven't seen her any happier. I think she's loving it. She's now going to plan to grow things over there only and not over here. And because she shared her testimony and she shared that, it opened up my mind and other people's mind. And I wasn't looking for anything. I was just like, whatever. And it came to me on Instagram, the ad or whatever came to me. And then I decided to go and check it out. And that's going to now in turn ricochet to somebody else and somebody else. So don't think that, oh, this is all that it is. For all you know, Psalms might have a big property over there. and running a community garden and feeding the people in the community, feeding the homeless, giving them free salads. We don't know what we're gonna do. What I do know is, oh, let me clear my throat. Sorry. What I do know is I definitely see many of us being problem solvers because, as we all say, no one's coming to save us. Nobody's coming. We have to save ourselves and feed ourselves. And many of us are going to begin to start to broaden our horizons. If you only have a small backyard, don't look at the backyard. Keep building your knowledge and your experience and practice. You're going to get something bigger, but you're not going to get the bigger until you've learned the lessons. So don't just sit down with your hands folded and like, I'm not doing nothing until I get my 1 and 2 acres. Let me tell you, I saw what the 2 acres looked like at the place. And many of you cannot manage the 2 acres. I'm telling you that right now. So stop with the big talk and start in your own backyard. Start with the 4x4, then the 6x, and keep building. Because some of you have a lot of talk, but you cannot handle. Because if that man wasn't tilling that piece of land for me, I couldn't handle it. It's big. It's overwhelming. Good morning, Jova. It's big. It's overwhelming. And some of you want to wait until you get that vision, that piece of the pie, I finally got the piece. No, you need to start doing the work now, because if you wait, you're going to be overwhelmed. There's a many of you right now, I know if you got a bigger piece of land, it wouldn't be that overwhelming because you're already putting in the work. So don't wait, do the work now, because things are moving so fast and people are coming and they're overlapping some of us. They're lapping us. They're moving ahead because they realize how important land is. They don't know what they're doing, but they know it's important to have land. So at the very least, they're buying small plots and they're figuring it out as they go. Some of us have the knowledge and the experience, and we're sitting here like, yeah. I'm telling you, people are lapping us. I went there. There's another group that leases the front part for youth to show them how to grow and be self-sufficient. I did not know that this was even happening in my locale because I've been looking, but I don't know where their ads are because I haven't seen it. And now that I search under the right things, all this stuff is coming up. Can you imagine having a beehive over there and becoming licensed, whatever they call them, aviary, whatever they call beekeepers, the proper name. Over here, because I want to do bees. It's coming to pass. Like, it's happening. But unless you take the steps forward to start to move, it's not going to happen. I already looked up how to become a licensed beekeeper over here. I know where the program is, and it's in the locale of this piece of land. A place called Humber College. At a certain campus, they have like botany, and they have a arboretum, and they do more like natural programming, and there's a beekeeping course there, and you can become licensed, because over here you can't just have a hive in your backyard. You have to be registered with the government and all kind of stuff, which is fine. But I did the research already and I put it down. It's there as one of those goals that you want to accomplish. And God has a funny, not so funny way of putting the pieces together. Do not wait. Start putting in the work now, because a lot of people understand. And I was watching last topic, and then I'm going to wrap it up. I was watching a video that came again. Based on what you watch, the algorithm pushes things to you. So because of my urban channel, I watch only, gardening and land stuff. My personal channel, I watch pure foolishness, like, Real Housewives of every city. I watch them foolishness and laugh at them. So this one came in and it's talking about redlining and the economic issues with the Black Americans, and going back into the history of the banking system, and the amount of robbery of the foundational Black Americans, because when they had banks and invested, because they couldn't invest in the mainstream banks because of their race, They lost all of their savings more than one time. They've lost lands more than one time. They were kicked out of cities and regions. And I think the lake, the big lake in the States that has a well-known lake, was a Black community that they put a lake on top of because they wanted to have a country club. They went through a lot of the history and the importance of wealth building and generational wealth. And land is a key component in this conversation based on what they were talking about. And then you kind of see the struggle because every time you get to a certain point, it's taken from you and you have to start from the beginning. I don't know how many people understand the mental, what's the word? Psychological damage that you do to people, not just a person, a group of people, when you're constantly having to start over from zero. But they keep starting over and keep building. But the importance of land in this equation. And many of us, I've heard, not us, maybe us here, but in general, I hear a lot about you don't really own anything. That is true in theory. It is. And there's a story right now in Toronto that I'll share with you guys. I'll do that next week. There's two things for next week. But one lady, basically, the government is, I guess, expropriating their that's the word, expropriating their home. They're building a subway line. The subway line's probably going to cause a lot of foundational and problems to these homes. So they're buying out certain homes and basically, hi, bye, see you later. This is a very affluent area. So people aren't shedding tears for them. But the point is that that's their home and they can't pass it down. They're going to get market value for the home, but you will never be able to afford a home in that area. The price is so sky high. So now they're going to have to move somewhere else. Again, first world problems, but this is what's happening. So I understand. Do you really ever own anything? Maybe not. Do you have to pay taxes? Yes, you do. But that is the tool. Land is how to build generational wealth. And I think it's time that we get back. And I know many of you talking about land, get back to the land talk. It may not happen for you, but it may happen for your children or your grandchildren. Keep talking to them about the land. If you cannot maybe develop the land, but you can buy the land and pass it down to your kids, talk to them, teach them the importance of land, the importance of keeping it in the family, understand the ramifications and what's going on, and have a place to build as a family, as a compound. That's the conversation that needs to be had. And do I have land? No, but I'm going to learn and understand how to work the land and how to make a profit based on the crops, because running a homestead isn't cheap. Depending on how big the property is, that may require heavy machinery. I don't think any of us are young enough to be taking a hoe and an axe and going out and doing it manually. That's not going to happen. You're going to have to buy machinery. That's going to cost money. You're going to have build good credit. There's other business aspects of homesteading, and you need to understand the business. You can't just be growing food at a loss. There's a farmer in the States. I don't know their names. I see them on Instagram. That storm, not the hurricane that just passed, the one before, I think it was Beryl. I think it was Hurricane Beryl. That storm, they had planted a whole bunch of stuff, and they're basing their income on the harvest and selling it. And when that harvest is ruined by weather and flooding, what I didn't factor in is that they not only lost the crop and lost the harvest, they lost money on labor because you got to pay people to come and plant and, fertilize and do all that stuff. All that work that went into it to wait for it to come to fruition, all that money is gone. So they've asked for volunteers. People are volunteering and going over to redo the beds, all kind of stuff is going on. Ruined. Farmers are not making that much money. So you need to understand what you're doing. Most people I see have a job. They have a 9 to 5 job. Sometimes they're doing social media as a job as well. And then so don't think that it's just, oh, I'm going to go on this farm and live this fantasy life of living on the prairie. And no, it costs money to run a farm. Between the taxes, the labor, the seeds, the machinery, the water bill, the hydro, even if you have a well, I think there's cost to that as well. To mean, hey, bud file, there's costs. We need to understand the business of farming, the business of homesteading, because many people are going to be very disappointed when they get there and they realize they didn't factor in the real true costs of living off grid. And again, nobody's coming to save you. So, how are you going to maintain your income if you don't know how to run a business, a profitable business? What crops are going to be profitable in your area? I don't know. You have to do that research yourself. You have to figure out how to make money. There's one girl, I think some of you may see her on Instagram. She sells dookie. What's it called? It's not llama. Is it llama? Alpaca. She has alpacas and she sells their droppings for fertilizer. And it's a cute little, her and her little daughter go in there dressed up fancy to go into the chicken coop and collect eggs. There has to be some kind of income generating product that you're selling to run and survive in this business. And whether or not you're running it as a business, you have to have income to pay the property taxes and to pay stuff. This is how it's got to work. And I think there's a lot of naivety in the community of what it takes. The man who's running this particular thing is retired. He's not retirement age, but he's retired. And he's from the IT whatever field. That's what he did. He got sick of the hustle and bustle, but I'm sure he made a lot of money and good money where he's able to retire at a younger age than 60. He's not 65. And he's able to do this. But unless people start to partner with him, because we can't do this on our own. I'm not going to go out and say, I'm going to get my own thing, start from scratch. Eventually, I may branch off, but I've made a team of people that we can work together with each other. We can bounce off and we can support each other. Listen, I'm having a problem with this. Can you help me? And vice versa. But you have to build with people. And I think that's not happening. So I'm going to build with this person. I'm going to figure out who's going to stand alongside me and get them to sponsor, to put in for the $1,000 to pay for this for the year. You already know I got lots of seeds. So plus they can help to buy other seeds at a bulk place because my seeds ain't going to really go very far. And we're going to plant. And we're going to teach people how to grow their own food and we're out. You have to work together. I'm telling you, everyone's off doing their own thing from scratch, and it doesn't make any sense. We would go further and faster if we collaborate, and we're not collaborating. So there's two. I'm going to ask them for money. I'm going to ask people for money. I don't have the business plan organized. I don't have it thought out all the way, but I will do the work. And I need two other people who are going to commit to doing the physical work. We take turns going to the property, making sure it's okay, making sure it's watered, checking for bug damage. There's deer there, but there's going to have fencing and figure it out. Are we going to fail? Probably, but it's going to be a lesson versus a failure because when we continue, we're going to learn to. I know for a fact a lot of people are suffering with sicknesses and disease. I can throw a stone and hit 3 people that I know who have some kind of cancer, some kind of something. It's getting out of hand. If we have a better source of food and if we have food security, that is going to change a lot of people's health even immediately. Obesity is also a big problem because the amount of food that we're eating has so many preservatives and chemicals that you're wondering why you're obese because you're not eating a lot, but what you're eating is not natural. If we can teach people to take pride in growing, the younger people, growing their food, that they can grow food and still work a 9 to 5 and still be in the corporate world and how to subsidize this kind of life. Like we got to figure it out because what we're doing is not working. And I'm doing it for myself, but I need to don't claim that failure. Yeah, it's not exactly that's what I mean. It's not people may say, oh, you failed, but I don't look at it as a failure. It's a lesson. And unless somebody starts and pushes the wheel's never going to move forward. So I'm willing to be the person to push the wheel and take, the lessons, figure out how this is going to work, and then get other people to come alongside once it's figured out and we'll move it forward faster. There's no reason why we can't have our own food source. 2020, we all learned when they shut things down and this, you can't go here, you can't go there, and even having quotas and rations on certain things. We need to have our own food source. We need to have food sovereignty. And more people than we realize are interested, but we're not connecting. It's like we're passing in the night. We didn't realize that, okay, she's doing this, he's doing that, and everyone's doing something, but there's no collab because we don't know that other people are interested in this thing. Right there, wasn't too far of a drive for me to go over there. It was so quiet. It's like, I can't believe it's right here, like major roads all around, but you can't hear. The trees shield you. Wildflowers. I'm there and I'm pointing out, oh, that's goldenrod. Oh, that's this. Oh, that's that. Medicine right there. But we don't know because we want to go to the pharmacy and pick up cough syrup and all kind of something. The medicine is right there in front of your face. So this is my sermon for today. The Book of Urban. Let's try to collaborate with people. Now, collaboration does not mean that you stop doing your own thing. I'm going to do my garden, but I'm probably going to scale it back out of wisdom because I only have two hands and I can't be over exerting myself. I already know how to grow a garden, so it's not like I don't know. But I'll just grow what I want over there and have my food and take it from there. We need to I'm seeing a lot of people, want to change their life and eat healthy because of health problems. But the access to food and the pricing is turning them off. And a lot of people are saying organic food, but it's not really organic. It's just regular food. It's just regular. It's not chemical, but it's just regular food. And they have this label and jack up the price, and then people can't afford, so they give up. Let's provide another option. And also, gardening builds community, it builds friendship, it builds a social network. It helps with depression, anxiety, it helps with stress. There's so many solutions to our problems if we would just go out into the garden and start to interact with nature. A lot of people don't need to take all these substances and pop these things. Get out into nature. So, check out your community, guys, those who are interested, and figure out what's happening in your community. Maybe there's a youth program that is teaching gardening and they need some volunteers every so often. Maybe you can be that volunteer once a week, say, okay, I'm going to help them, you know, talk about one particular plant and teach them how to germinate it. If that's all you're doing, that's priceless. Giving your knowledge to help somebody run a youth program to teach them how to garden because they can't do it by themselves. And you're sitting here wondering, how can I help? What can I do? Go to your local library, figure out what they're doing. Do they have a seed library? Who's organizing the seed library? What seeds do they need? What other crops can they bring in because they're not attracting other groups of people because you're not bringing in their food that they know there's no seeds for them. How do you figure it out? I'm donating seeds to the library. The seeds that I'm donating, I know they never had them before in their life. But someone's going to go, "Oh my God, they have this? This is from my country. I'm going to plant this." You have to be that peg in the wheel. We need all of us. Thank you, Bayou Sugar. I appreciate that. We need to be involved. That's all I'm saying. And there's the senior citizens, those of you who are retired who think, oh, I can't do nothing. You can sit down with these kids and talk to them and encourage them and guide them and say, oh, good job, Johnny Sue. Good job, Sarah Jean. Because their parents aren't encouraging them. Just having someone say, you did a good job. Oh, wow, look at that. And encouraging them because they don't get it at home because their parents are doing 2 and 3 jobs just to make ends meet and don't have time for those soft skills. You can do something. You don't have to be moving machinery, just giving those kids some encouragement. So let's try to, and shout out to Bayou Sugar as well. If you're not connected with her, she's teaching you all how to get grants and where to look for grants. And I believe she got a grant for $500 to use towards something. So use her information and try to get funding. That may be able to be used for your local your garden, your local garden. Maybe you could start a program with the whatever you want to do. The Bible says, write the vision and make it plain. And people use like vision boards and they do it in that sense. But that's the same thing. Make the vision, make a plan. You don't have to have all the details. I want to do X, Y, and Z. And look at that and figure out how you're going to make it done. If money is the problem, Bayou Sugar is finding the sites to apply for grants. Maybe if you apply for a grant, that would solve the problem of the money and you can move a program forward. Maybe you want to grow extra food to give to the shelter, but you need a bit more money to buy the dirt and the raised bed. Apply for a grant and show them that I'm going to give these 3 beds, the harvest from these 3 beds are going to go towards the food bank. And the rest that were mine are going to still be grown for my family. There's more than one way to skin a cat. Just be creative and figure out how to make it done. The money's out there. Bayou Sugar has that gifting. I would click on the internet and put in something and nothing pops up. But she might put the same thing in and 50 things. I don't know what it is with people. Some people are good at finding stuff. She can find the money, the grant application, go to her. Good morning, 10. Go to there's people, there's resources in this community. And a lot of the resources are free because people are dropping free game, free knowledge, free tips. But you have to pick up your 2 foot them and your 2 hand them and move it forward. It's not going to come and sit down on your lap. But if you make one step, God will come closer and meet you. I'm telling you, I've seen it, I've experienced it. There's an opportunity that's coming around. Even right now, I've been praying for something for about 2 years and it's come through. It came through it's a little rocky, but God came through. So all I got to do is make the fandangling and things and it's smooth. God made it come through because it could have went left and that would have been a problem, but God has come through. And this week I'm going to finish off that. And that's 2-year project that has been not weighing down, but it's been a concern. But I had to trust God for 2 years. 2 years. I've been praying for 2 years every day, every morning at 7:30, between 7:30 and 8. For 2 years, we've been praying about this. There's one more thing that we're praying for, and I'm believing it, but it's not always easy. The race is not for the swift. It's the long game. And the long game has a tendency to suck you dry if you're not careful. So you got to put your faith and trust in God to carry you through. Because if you're not the evil one is very smart. He doesn't work hard, he works smart. And he'll drag things out because he knows you don't have the stamina to finish. But you got to put your faith and your trust on the one who has the stamina. It's not you, it's beyond you. But if you have the idea and you believe that it can come to pass, just keep praying and saying it. My sister said to me this week, I was singing a song. What was I singing? And Wyclef Jean song. And she said something to me. And I couldn't even argue back. I'm like, eh. And I was singing, someone please call 911. Da, 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 just mumbling it off. She says, what did you say? I said, I'm singing a song. It's Wyclef Jean. She goes, but what is the song saying? And I told her what the song was saying. She goes, you better rebuke that. So I'm like, what? She goes, and she was right, because I've heard it before. Even Michael Jackson says, songs are mantras, and you're repeating it because it's a chorus. So you're just, mindlessly repeating it, but you're saying something and you're bringing that on. So she goes, no. Stop singing songs that don't have good meaning to it. And I'm like, I was like, I couldn't respond. I'm like, she wasn't lying. And then that same week, a repeat came onto my feed. I saw it before, but it came in again with Michael Jackson talking about a mantra. That's why these musicians make the hook so catchy. And you're like, but then you're humming along and you're saying it, and you don't even realize what you're saying. And you're saying, some bad things that you're bringing on to yourself. Oh, I don't believe that. You better believe it. Words have power and energy. What's it? I'm telling you, and energy is energy. And because we were talking in Can't Stop Walking But Love Mowing. One day this morning, I don't know which morning, but we were talking about, yeah, because some people don't say good morning, they say grand rising. And he was asking, oh, you know, why do people say that? And then we're trying to type it in the chat, but it's kind of hard to you're typing it, but it's kind of hard to express it when you're typing with your two thumbs. So basically, uh, Mike Kiotic was saying something, and I'm like, yeah, like he doesn't see anything, any issue with it. I said, I don't really take an issue to it either, but I understand words have power, and what they're saying is that morning, whether it's the spelling, basically is irrelevant. The sound of the word um, conjures up certain type of energy, and the energy is not concerned about the spelling of the word to know the context of the word. The word is the word, has the same sound, and the energy that that sound or frequency creates is going to create it, period, whether you believe it or not, is what I was trying to say in the chat. So I understand what they're saying, and there is always a better way to say things. And this is all in the same week that my sister said, stop singing that chorus, stop saying that song. Because the song said at one point, tell him I just got shot down with a bullet in my heart. I'm saying it because that's what the lyrics say. But the energy doesn't know that I'm saying it, just repeating what Wyclef. No, I'm now saying I've been shot down and whatever I'm saying. And I'm like, you know what? That is I don't really like that. Mm-mm. So she's like, no. And it's the same thing. So people say grand rising because the word morning sounds like mourning a death. And then there's something else that even Rastafarians don't say, because and it sounds ridiculous, but it's sometimes not ridiculous, because words have power. And this is the problem. The English language is very confusing, because one word, depending on the spelling, can have 3 different or 4 different meanings. There's there, THERE, THEIR. There's different spellings, and it's like, well, it's the grammar and depending on the context, but the energy doesn't go into all that confusion. It's simple, it's clear. Other languages don't have so many multiple. Good morning, Lashes. So you have to be conscious that the words do have power, and we're so reckless with our words that we're asking for blessing and we're working towards a blessing, but at the very same time, we are also cursing the very thing that we ask to be blessed. So we have to be more mindful of the words that we choose. So even when I said, it's a failure, I didn't mean it's a failure, but Fifi's right. We don't claim it as a failure. Let me be clear that others may perceive it as a failure. I don't, and you have to be clear, because the energy is listening and all this. And it's like, let's go. We got her now. We got her now. Oh, we got her again. She opened her mouth. Bloom, bloom, bloom. When people say things to their children, you have to be careful what you say to your children, because those are bullets that can't be returned. Like, those are shots. Don't call your kids. Don't say things to your children. Some of you all are grown and grandparents, and you still remember the harsh words that were said from your parents. So be very careful when you talk to children. Good for nothing. You're just like so and so, and all these statements. You need to shut your mouth. You need to keep your problems to you, and don't transfer them to the next generation. You need to make sure that your words are fruitful and they're life giving, because this is today's sermon. Life and death are in the power of your tongue. And even though we don't mean harm, we've all done harm with our words. And we can, even today, even yesterday, there's been harm. And I'm, okay. And you got to correct it quickly, and you got to repent. It's okay. I'm going to work on that. I'm going to work, and don't feel offended when you're grown and somebody has to, give you a heads up. Like, don't use that word. Don't use that terminology, because you're harming. You'll say, oh, mind your business. No, they're trying to stop you from harming yourself, because what we have to realize is we're harming ourselves, and that includes your kids, your grand, because that's part of yourself. That's going down your line. Watch what you're saying. Take a pause and think. Don't let your emotions dictate what's coming out of your mouth. If you know you're in a bad and foul mood, just keep quiet. Wait until you can simmer down and think clearly, and then say, okay, this is what I need to communicate. Do not speak things, because what you speak to your children takes, I can't even, like it, they say for one negative word takes 100 positive words to make up for that one negative word. And how many people have enough positive words to fix the negative word that you said? I don't think most of us have that stamina to continue to build. Just keep quiet. It's not hard. Thank you, Miss Patty. Just keep quiet. That's why I said those who missed in the beginning. I know there's a lot going on, and it needs to be discussed. But keep your name off of people. That includes the Haitians. Because when you say the Haitians, you're talking about all Haitians. And not all the Haitians are doing whatever you're talking about. Like the labels and the media, oh, the Haitians, the Haitians. What? There's been Haitians in America for years. Don't keep your mouth off the Haitians. Keep your mouth on the issue. And these distractions get you saying stuff, and people pick it up and tag, yeah, the Haitians, they're eating our dogs. The Haitians, and before you know it, there's a mob going after the damn Haitians. That had nothing to do with the dog. They were sitting there minding their business. The one person that took the dog is long gone. Keep your mouth off certain people and watch what you're saying. If you're talking about people who are taking dogs and cats, fine, but don't label, because you're saying the Haitians. Maybe you should say a group of Haitians. Like, you need to be very specific. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You words. Well, I asked God years ago for a sewing machine, whatever, and two tools. I got the sewing machine, but it wasn't what I wanted. And that's when I learned you need to be specific, because whatever you say will manifest itself. So stop saying the Haitians. Say a group of Haitians, because that's more specific. You're tapering it down to a specific group of people who happen to be Haitian. And for all we know, all of them are not even Haitian. They could be from other French speaking places. So we're saying a lot without any information. And we take the media, the little taglines, and we've gone with it. Keep your mouth off the Haitian people. I'm telling you that right now. Don't play with the Haitians. Don't play with them. Don't follow the media and start saying the Haitians. Just say, specific group of Haitians. There's a group of people. Be very, I can't stress it enough. Be very specific, because words have power. Eating cat. I don't know what. This is me talking now. Just me, not. Why are you so upset about them eating the cats? Because other groups of people have been cooking cat and selling it to you with orange sauce for years, and you haven't said too much about them cats. But now you're mad because a certain cat. Please, miss me with that. Cat has been eaten in America since how long? And every corner in a certain neighborhoods have a certain kind of restaurant, and a pure cat them eat. They must sell you pure cat every day. Orange cat, lemon sauce cat. They must sell you sweet and sour cat, and all kind of cat. And now you're upset about the cat because now it's Haitians. Make it make sense. And it's not making sense. And how easy it is to get people to jump on. Oh, be very careful when you jump on bandwagons, because when the bandwagon is rolling down the hill, the person driving it long gone and leaving you in the bandwagon down the hill into the precipice. Because all of this is manufactured, and you're on the manufacturing. Then me here say them the presidential debate, which I didn't watch. The usual orange man must say something about the people I'm eating cat and dog, and them go, oh, it's lies. Maybe they're not eating the cat and dog, but they're certainly going missing. Come on, guys. The amount of distractions going on right now between the Venezuelan And even that, the Venezuelan. It's not the Venezuelans. It's well, the Venezuelan gang, because it's a certain gang that happened to be, and maybe they're not all Venezuelan, but that gang that's taking over places, that's they're saying it's true, but it's a lie. I don't know who to believe. The point is, keep your head on swivel, because all of these people are coming in here legally. They're not all illegal. And the illegals that did come in illegally were legally let in because the door was left wide open. So if you leave your door wide open, wide open, the door, the border, the bridge, the creek, the lake, the elevator, the airplane, the boat, the canoe, everything is left wide open and people come in. Is it really illegal? Is it really illegal in the grand scheme? Really? If you leave every door wide open, who's really to kind of blame for the situation? Make me come in there illegally and see what happened to me. I wouldn't get the same VIP. I probably wouldn't get no EBT card. Even some of you all are saying you're gonna leave and come back to the illegal chain. Forget, because the benefits are going to those people. Keep your fight to the right enemy, to the correct party, not to the. They have a role to play, but come on, guys. And then, if what's happening is true, the taking over, and they're not being taken incarcerated, not being jailed, they're not being arrested, they're not being deported. Focus your energy on what you need to focus it on, and build your communities so that when people come in, then they're afraid for coming to your community, because you guys are tight and you're all like have an understanding. You don't come over here with them foolishness, and focus on that, because ain't nobody coming to remove these people. They were brought there and even here, and their rent is being paid for. I don't know about America. I hear things, but I know for sure here in Ontario, I can't speak for all the other provinces. I know people who work in a different city regions, and certain cities are going bankrupt, and they had to move these people to other cities, and they're looking for housing for them in areas where there's a housing crisis. And these people are getting housing because it's being paid for by and subsidized by the city, which is still the government. And they're also getting access to federal funding as well as their funding from the city funding. But there's so many people in tents. When I drove to the area again, I'm seeing new areas, not even tent. They might have one tarp. And hey, I'm choosing with Jay, have one little tarp and then one crevice. And you can always tell them because they have so much garbage. I don't know why they have so much garbage pile up. Even if I was homeless, I would just find a bus shelter or something and put them in the common bins and throw the garbage away, because you don't want to live with, but they just pile up the garbage. So right away, and then you see the tent or the tarp after. Same town, pure homeless people. And then other people are coming in and getting their rent paid for. And the rent is higher than the rent that used to be even here, because the landlords can now make back the money that they've lost for the people that are not paying. All of the problems that were being had. There's problems all around to be had. But I'm telling you, their rent is being paid for. The government is bringing these individuals in. And it's probably worse in the States because some of these people I heard are getting firearms and other things. So that's another issue. But if somebody's walking around and you're like, oh, they're not going to come and take my cat, my dog, and whatever. I can tell you right now, if them come from my little chicken them, and you know me love my little clover and me like pepper, they will have to go. Because I'm not taking on me with my little stick and my cutlass, mad people who want fried chicken. It's either I have to hide them in the house. Not every fight is going to be worth it. I'm going to blah, blah. Not every fight's going to be worth it, guys. Because you don't know how much people are going to come now to come and get revenge, and all kind of, it's the back and forth. So be very careful and be very mindful. You're better off being concealed and they don't know what they're dealing with until it's time for them to know what they're dealing with. Oh, not your Dora. I'm telling you. I don't think they would come to your house. But if they did, I know Fifi knows what to do. But Fifi ain't walking around like, yeah, come, come. I dare you, come. You, keep, don't incite nobody. Don't provoke nobody. Come, I dare you. No, she's sitting there canning her tomatoes and she did her meat birds and she's minding her business and she's drying her herbs. But if you come over there, that's when you're going to find out, all right, don't go over there, but keep your mouth quiet. The big, yeah. No, 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 no. Start to do your research, guys. I find it ironic that Springfield, Ohio is now the place. The Simpsons? Springfield, Ohio. This, why are they in Colorado? The other people. Like, if I'm gonna pick a place to go to, those two places would not even be on the list. So some of you all who are in certain areas should be thanking your lucky stars right now. Go get yourself in order. Go get your affairs in order. Go get your security and all you gotta do and everything in order and get to know your neighbors. It's what you haven't known and you lived there for 10 years. You don't even know their name. Get to know the neighbors and have some kind of community thing going on. And if they come over here, they're gonna get stopped in their tracks. You're not coming over here with that because you can talk big all you want to. If you don't have a support around you, I would keep my mouth shut because if somebody come here for take something, then make them take it. I'm telling you the honest, make them take it. Let them take and live to fight another day. And make sure you have backup because it's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's too dangerous. But anyways, I'm going to bounce. Thank you all for coming. And I appreciate the support. Those who are going to catch the replay, I have to clip out the song at the beginning because you don't know the copyright, not be playing around. I will see you in these streets. Make sure that you guys connect with each other if you're not connected already. And I don't think anything's happening. I was supposed to do the book club last week, but something came up. So I'm going to try to do it this week at some odd time. So don't worry about it. Watch the replay. Make sure you guys are eating healthy, drinking your water. Come off of these store-bought chemically stuff. Frugal Mama, 7 a.m. every morning, Monday to Friday. She's doing her exercise. If you can't do it, watch her and just march on the spot and start to move your blood and get your body going. You only have one body, and if you don't take care of it, you're really going to regret it. So everybody, I'm just encouraging you, start to get more active, drop your seeds. Those of you who just come to the gardening and just don't plant nothing, plant something and stop the foolishness because your firearm ain't going to feed you. Some of you, oh, I'm 2A, 2A. Yep, eat the ammo and eat the trigger and see where that gets you. Plant some food, please. God's blessing you guys all week. I'll see you in some of the other chats. Thumbs up the video to help the algorithm, guys. And be kind to yourself and be kind to others. That's important. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and watch the words that you say because words have power. All right? Blessings.